What's up, guys? Welcome to your favorite channels. Build with me, and I'm not kidding. It is your favorite channel. So today I'm going to be explaining the process going through renovation of a bathroom. And so yeah, let me not waste your time and let's get to it. All right. Oh, and this one I have to say that I have to have my my camera guy helping me. So I got a lot of helper here, you know, as you can tell in the video. So yeah. And sometimes I'm using wood for measurement as a straight edge. It's actually interests me because it's actually kind of fun to see your work afterward, because when I'm doing it, I'm not really paying attention. So I'm just doing it, but now it's pretty cool. Here I have the insulation, the exterior of course, and the interior wall I don't need to insulate them. So I'm here, I started already with a cement board. That's kind of waterproof before you do your tile. And as you can see me here, I'm coming back and forth from outside because the cement board is kind of dusty. A lot of dust. It created a lot of dust to cut inside, so I have to cut outside. Although
you remember Poppy ruined that piece?
Oh yeah, Poppy, of course. You know, sometimes you hire inexperienced workers, but you know, Poppy ruined that. But I was able to fix it.
Yeah.
And over here, you can tell some people would use. You might have a question why you're using nails instead of screws. Some people use screws. Me, I prefer using nails over screws because the nail head is actually, the way it's designed is to cover whatever holes you might create. So when the nails go in, the head of it will cover. That's why I like to use nails. And it's also recommended. Some people actually don't realize it's actually recommended. It's recommended to use nails over screws, cement board screws. You have to pay attention here with my either outlets or switches. I make sure I measure them before I actually put my drywall up, because it's easy. It's so easy to actually bear in your outlet or switches. You know, sometimes I even take pictures of the empty wall before I put drywall up, because what if I forgot? And then later on I can remind myself what I may not or may forgot and bear inside the wall. And over here you might see that I put a whole drywalls and then cut the door afterwards, instead of measuring this little piece on the right end here, or I don't know, it could be on your left hand, but on my right hand, below the switches, you see again, I repeat again, I'm putting a big drywall on the top of it and then cut it out afterwards, so I don't need to measure all this, so I can cut it out. You can cut your doors afterward. Oh yeah, this might be the part one, because I say we're good, my favorite thing to say, you know. And then of course I pre-mix my the drywall mud. It's a pre-mix from the hardware store like Home Depot, but I make sure I mix it up with my drill so I have a consistent product to work with. Over here I'm doing my first drywall tape. So as you can tell here, it's only a drywall tape that I'm not mudding over my the first drywall tape. I'm let it dry, and then later on I can come on with a second coat and then mud it over it. So right now it's just a drywall tape, and then fill in my screws head, of course. It is so fast right now. The space that I'm going. Can you imagine me going this fast? Ooh, I'll do 10 hours
so
a day.
much.
Yeah, I get paid so much. I think I'll make the world go bankrupt if I can go this pace. If you have any question, you can always comment, and then we'll try to make a video of your comment and try to answer you. So yeah, as you can tell here, I'm still using the first coat of drywalls. I'm putting my tape. I put the mud over the wall on the drywall first, and then I put my tape over. The reason being is because I want the tape to stick. I have something to stick on. If you want to detail any of these videos, we have some videos sometimes that I'm specifically teaching people how to do it. So there are some video out there that we already posted that actually you can learn if you want to learn how to do it. Mudding and how I do it, because this video might be too much of a fast pace. So you're more than welcome to check other videos as well that we already made. If anything, you can also call us. Not call us. That'd be nice, right? Comment, and then we answer your question.
Hello, it's B. How may I help you?
Oh no, it's Bill with me. Hello, thank you for calling Bill with me. How may I help you?
What may I build for you?
Over here you can tell there's a different products. I'm using thin sets, which means I'm only using it on the waterproof area. Thin sets is what I use before I put my tile. So that's what I'm using right now. It's not a drywall, don't get confused. They're all the same color sometimes, but hey, look. So, and I'm not trying to throw white jokes here just because they're all white, you know. So yeah. I'm not saying that white people all look the same, right?
But that's what you think.
That's alright, let me focus, okay?
He did mix up Russell Crowe and Gerard Butler the other day. He's like, it's the same person.
I'm pretty sure somebody's gonna say, who is that next to you? It's my contractor worker / camera guys. So right here, as you can tell, I'm using red guard tape. So I am not using the drywall tape. Of course, the drywall is not waterproof, but this red guard, I'm using it because it's waterproof, and I'm using it in the water area above the tub area where I'm going to be tiling. So I'm using red guard tape and filling in all my cracks and corners and around the faucets, fixtures. I know a bunch of you might not say that why do they have a big ass window in the shower area, but you know, it's a whole building. Sometimes the way they build it, they don't mean it to be a bathroom, but they, you know, it happen to be the bathroom area. Or I don't know where to begin how these people design houses back in the day with a big ass window in the bathroom. So in that case, thank God we have vinyl windows that can be waterproof, as long as you're waterproof around the windows as well. That can be also good, like I did here. And here I'm doing my second coat of drywalls. I'm filling one side. You can tell here I'm not doing both of the sides of the corner. Like I'm only filling one side. The reason being is because I don't want my knife to touch the other area that's wet. So that's why it's hard to understand what I might be saying, because you know, you might not see it right now, but again, that's why the other videos that I'm actually teaching drywalls, what the process, how the process works, I do cover all that. If anything, if you have any question, again, like I mentioned earlier, you can also contact us. Comment. Over here, I'm beginning to do my tile. So what I did is I'm cutting. I measure the inside of the window, and I'm gonna put the tile around the window first before I put my metal trim around it. So you can see all the tile that I just cut. They're very thin. I'm putting them in the window area, in size. Putting all of them in using thin sets. I'm not using drywall mud, even though they might look gray or white like a drywall mud, but it is not drywall mud. It's a thin set specifically made for tile only. Here I'm cutting my first tile. I always start, usually I don't put my first tile in first, but in this case I'm actually cutting my first tile first because I already measured from the ceiling to the bottom, so I already know where my first tile gonna land and my end tile gonna, the tile that, because I'm tiling all the way from the above the tub all the way to the ceiling. So in this case, I usually don't do this. I usually left the last tile and put the wood, but that might be for next video. You might not understand it now, but yeah, that's why I have the other videos right to check out. As you can see, I'm using the metals around the window. I'm using that metal to for the finish, like to hide all my non-finished. I'm using all my non-finished tile, like around them. I'm covering with the metal, so I have the metal to cover the edge of the unfinished tile. So for instance, if I cut, my tile is gonna be maybe a crack here because of sometimes the saw is not perfect. So that's why I'm using metal just for the clean finish. I thought this was gonna be easy to explain, but the pace I'm going right now, yeah. The tile I'm using on a wet saw, as you can see me actually pouring in water in it. It's a wet saw, so it's less dust, but also it cuts fines because it's a wet saw. It's cooling down the blades that I'm using. I don't know if this matters, but I'm using a 25% kind of design. It's not completely a subway pattern. It's kind of like a 25% because this tile does a design for 25 what is a subway pattern, because the subway pattern you're supposed to have a tile and then in the middle, directly in the middle of it might be a line. You know, if you don't know what a subway tile design, you know, go on YouTube or Google it, you'll see what I mean. Or we can actually, why do all that when you can just comment below and then ask us, and then I'll make a video about it, and yeah, to make it easy for you to understand it. I didn't even notice my laser is actually over there, and just keep it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure some people are like, what is the purpose of your laser? But I don't know. When I'm working, sometimes I forget, you know. Oh, and it's Sunday morning, so cheers. I got my wine here and my beautiful beer glass.
So, what did you say, Sunday morning?
Mm.
It's almost 4.
Oh. You see, when you lose track of the time or day.
Yeah, when you drink this, basically the whole bottle.
Come on, man. You don't have to show that I'm practically alcoholic. You have to add it out.
Yeah, I'll let that out.
Yeah, I don't like that face. You said that before. So I usually do the first actually not the first. I usually do tile my back wall of anything and then put my my sides walls in. The reason being is because I want to hide all the line, all the imperfection from the corner. So I want to do it that way. So again, if you don't understand what I'm saying, you know, you can always comment again and ask me what do I mean by that, and I'll explain it to you. You see that there's a green marker around, so I already measure out, I plan it out when it's my, you know, I'm trying to follow the same pattern as I have on my left hand, on my right hand side. So the same thing to the left wall. So all the side walls. I do it here. I might not mention it in the beginning. I actually I put the thin sets on the wall using my I think this one I might be a 1/4 inch trowels. So I put it on the wall first, and then I actually not butter it. I just put some mud and scrape it off on the tile. I'm just basically technically I'm putting a wet surface on the tile so it stick better on the wall, on the thin set that I put on the wall. Because if the tile is wet a little bit, it's gonna actually stick better versus using a non-wet tile. Try to stick it, you know, wet stick on the wet. That's how I seen it. But some people might do it different. It doesn't mean that's wrong. It's just everybody have their own different ways of doing things. You see the yellow thing. This is the yellow thing that like those are spacer, or what is that called? The wedges or something. So the yellow stuff, I think they call it the wedges, and the shim. Some people, yeah, the wedge. So I use those. They help me have my tile
Time to go eat.
to be the same surface and don't have a lippage. I say lippage a lot in my tiles on my videos work. A lot of my videos because. Lippage. A lippage, when you a word of lippage is that means you have two different surface, you know, overlapping each other. So that thing helping me to put my tile in the same surface, smooth, you know, no lippage. You can Google the word of lippage and then you might know, you will see it, or again comment. Over here, that's very important. I'm actually cutting around my faucet. So I'm using this, I think diamond blade, and I'm cutting my tile with it. I'm cutting holes so it's going to go to perfectly around my fixture, as you can see there. That's my downspout water, and of course I'm going to do the same thing, or actually use a grinder for the shower handle. But I'll repeat the thing one more time on the top when I get to the top of the shower. This one, I don't need to use this the diamond blade because it's actually I need to cut a little bit bigger using a grinder. So So I have the screws. So when I put my plates on the finished work around the faucet, so I have my screws, the room to fit in. Over here, I'm still paying attention to the pattern. Alright, and also you can see here, I don't know if I mentioned it yet, so you can see I use metal again. I use metal on the end of this, the same way I use it on the window. But this time I use it also on the edge, again, to cover my unfinished, because the tile have an unfinished, of course. The only way you don't need to use a metal if you want, if you have like a bullnose, they call it, either a Home Depot, but for this kind of tile, it would be hard to find a bullnose, because it's like, I think this is 24 by 12. So I have to use a metal for the clean edge. And again, this is again, like I told you earlier, I use this again to cut my my fixture for the shower. And I'm about to be done for the shower area. Last one to go. Oh, look at that. I had to say, we're good, you know, my favorite word. So over here, you know, my guy Poppy, he's taking them out. He's taking out the wedges and the chims. And now we're gonna go, before we grout, we have to clean up all the grout area, whether using the utility knife and the brush to get all the thin set that might be inside the grout, to clean it really good before we actually do our grout, because that's very important. The thin set is not waterproof, but the grout might be semi-waterproof, but still not waterproof, even though people think cement is waterproof. So over here I'm using a trowels again, a blue trowels. It's not the one that has teeth, but this one doesn't have teeth. It's like I'm using it angrily. I don't know if I can, I'm not actually showing it here, but again, there's a video for it actually that we already made. I forgot what part is that video.
How to grout?
We do that on a grout already, right?
Yeah, it was the one with Chantel.
Okay, the one with Chantel.
How to install kitchen backsplash.
Yeah, the one that how to install kitchen backsplash with the pretty girl in it. So that's a video you might want to click.
We should do another video specifically about how to grout.
Absolutely, yeah, we definitely will do that because I'm sure there are people that want to know.
Oh, yeah.
Over here, so again, I put the grout in, but I'm also pay attention to what the temperature, how long is it gonna be dry, you know, what's my time, because you don't, sometimes you forget and leave the grout too long and on the tile, and oh my god, my camera guy Craig and I, we went to hell because I forgot, because I got distracted. I was doing other thing.
We had to buy like specific brushes.
Yeah. Oh my god, I gotta use all kinds of tools that I have. Ooh, it was bad. Okay, that thing just fall on me. I thought it was some kind of thing for a moment, like an animal.
An animal.
Yeah. We good. At this point, what are we gonna do next? I think we're doing the floor. Okay, here I'm doing the floor. So what I'm using very thin membrane. So I got this from Lowe's. You can get it from your, you know, nearby. And again, I'm mentioning Lowe's. I'm not getting a sponsor or anything. I'm just saying what can be convenient for you. So you can go to a near store and pick it up if you like. And I got a few people that say that because I did a video before when I did not use the membrane. I tile over the plywood. So the way it works is, if you tile, you can actually tile around or over the plywood as long as not OSB. The difference is the OSB is fake wood and the plywood is actual hardwood, and it's made for all kind of weather, so it can take a little beat. But in this case, I'm actually using very thin membrane, which is, in this case, I'm using a little bit of membrane. I'm using very thin membrane. I can, which I've done in the past, I can just tile over the plywood. I've done it in the past. you can actually do that. It's not really the end of the world because in this area it's not so much of the water going on. It's the only thing you might get is a mop in there, you know, a little bit of water from mop and also from stepping out from the tub. It's not like a shower, you know. If it's a shower, there's whole different stories. And there are other videos you can check out from our channel, Build With Me, and try to see what the process of actually doing shower. It's not gonna be like this, it's gonna be a lot more process of steps. In this case, I'm doing floor tile. When I'm doing floor tile, I double the thin set. So I'm actually using trowels on the tile as well. So I'm doubling. Basically, I'm adding a quarter and a quarter, become a ½ inch. So I'm actually using a ½ inch. I can use the ½ inch trowel, but in this case, I decided to just double the tile just for more stability. So yeah, I mean that's what I prefer. You can do whatever. So this is for homeowner work. Really, you don't need to be a contractor. You can actually do this at home. To be honest with you, it's really even my camera guy can do it. I mean, he's gonna say, "What do you mean by that?" But yeah. And this one, as you can see, I already pre-cut my tile, so it's easy. It's only take me a few minutes to put the tile in because I already pre-cut them. So that's why I'm going faster here, because I already pre-cut them. There's some that I might be cutting during the video, but I already pre-cut them. Except the faucet area. There's water coming from the floor, the water line for toilet. I'm cutting that because I want to show y'all how it works. And again, same process. I'm using wedgie, and I have this clamp that clamp them together and make sure everything is more flat and no lippage. And of course, how can I forget my tools? I got my, a lot of people call that, I just find out they call it a triangle. Contractor call it square. That's a blue thing, you see that. And I also have my sponge and my water to clean up my thin sets. You want to try to clean the thin sets while you're doing tile as much as you can from the grout line, because it's gonna be a hell. Like I mean a hell to clean it up after the thin sets dry between the grout lines. You want to get as much as you can while it's wet. All it takes is wipe it off, and you can see over there I'm also using I have a brush there to go clean up the grout, clean the grout out of the thin set, clean the grout out of the tile, between the tile. And now I come maybe a day later, I come in and I take out all the stuff. I do save the wedges, but I don't save the trims. You see here that I'm going with my utility knife. Again, I'm cleaning out. It's hard, you know. It might be easy, but it's actually, that's because I prepared before. I wipe it off while the thin sets was wet, but in this thing, I'm still going around it just to make sure. I hate grouting, and everybody knows that. I hate grouting, but I actually don't mind doing the floor grout, because all you can do is like pour it on the floor and just go diagonal. But on the wall is a whole different story. If you know, it's just so much of a sloppiness and messy. It say here now we wait for grout to dry. Yeah, you wait for a few minutes. When it get the way you know when it's grout is dry, it will turn gray. It turn lighter. So when it turns lighter, I come in and then I wipe it down, going diagonally, and I use my sponge. And sometimes I have the grout saved somewhere in case I have some unfilled some area, because yeah, you sometimes you filled it a couple times. We done with tiling. Now we going through the drywall. So now we sanding. I have my guy Poppy here sanding all the drywall, and prepare for the paint. We already did two, 3 coats on the drywalls. Or did it, we mud it out and get to the point when I decide, okay, this is good and it's ready for paint. That looks beautiful, isn't it? Just keep in mind when you sanding the drywall, just don't overdo it, and you know you don't want to overdo it and sand it all the way until you see the paper. Over here I start priming. We start priming the wall. So first thing we priming. Of course, when you prime, you don't need to. Even though I'm very careful around the tile area because the tile run all the way to the ceiling. So I'm cutting here. But when you're doing priming in some area, there might be a knot. That might not be around the tile. You can actually be sloppy the wall because the wall and the ceiling has to be primed, and the priming, of course, is just one color. You know, so you don't need to be very careful. Like over here, you can see I'm careful in some area and I'm really not careful in other area. Keep in mind if you're gonna do a painting, like you're doing brand new remodel, of course leave all the finish like an outlet, not put the outlet cover in. I mean, everybody should know this, but you know, so because you don't want to cut around your outlet. Like right now I leave everything so I can just paint, don't have to worry about the cutting around them. So that's why you see all my outlet don't have a cover, just because I don't want to have to deal with cutting. Over here, I think I'm doing the ceiling paint first. So, of course, when you're doing the painting, you have to do your ceiling paint first, and then do your wall, because you can always cut in to the ceiling, but you can't cut to the wall. So that's why you got to do your ceiling first, because the ceiling normally is just flat white. Over here it's hard to see. I already have a gray wall. It's a gray wall, it's a different color. So I'm cutting my wall into my ceiling. Yeah, I know you can't really see the difference, but it is actually a light gray, or actually to be exact, it's kind of like a gray blue kind of. So I'm cutting in there. You might see me not using tape, because you might see other contractor using tape, but I don't use painting tape because I absolutely hate painting tape, because it leaks through. You might think, okay, it's perfect, but when you take it out, you're always going back and try to fix these little minor issues. But to me, it just drives me crazy. So I'd rather just cut with my hand. Not to mention that, yeah, I might be an artist and get used to the brushes, but that's just me, you know. You can actually, if you want, you can use the tape measure. Not the tape measure, the tape, the painting tape. The ceiling, I use 2 coats of white, flat white, and also the same scenario go with the walls. Well, 2 coats. Sometimes you use 3 coats, depending on the problem you might have. Over here, I already done my painting. Now I'm doing my trim and my baseboard. So of course I'm gonna do my baseboard.
I'm about to do something I haven't done before.
I put my vanity in and then do my baseboard.
Another job. You see this one?
Yeah, here I try to be a muscle guys and not use the pocket tools correct. See that? Yeah.
Oh yeah, you didn't want to go get your caulk gun, or buy a new one. I've been you buying a caulk gun when you already had like 2.
I have so many of them in the garage, but I got lazy. I was like, let me just use it. That's a different, yeah, I gotta, be silly and show my muscles around it. I do have muscle, yeah. Over here, I'm putting the vanities together. Of course, I put my cabinet first, and then I bring my my vanity, the top of the granite piece, and then I put my finished work. You know, I didn't want to do all this before because I want to paint my room first and bring my vanity in for cleanness. And now I'm installing my toilet. Sometimes, you know, most of the time I put my toilet, I put the wax down and then put my toilet around it, or sometimes I even do the other way around. Put my the toilet wax on the toilet and then put it down. I know it's hard really to see the details because the space, the pace that going, not the space, the pace that going right now so fast. I can't even keep up. So you can't imagine. Over here, I already installed my door. I know we didn't have a time to show you how I do the door, but hey, that's for next video. But here, I'm putting my trim down first before I put my baseboard around it. I'm sure I'll show you. Oh, here we go again. Damn, it's so fast. Damn, okay, I can't keep up with this thing. Now I'm putting my baseboard around. Don't worry about the gap that you might see. Those gaps are caulked. If I'm off a little bit, that's what caulk is for. It fixes the problem, and then you paint it good as new. You never know what the difference was. It's funny thing happened here. I think I trip on a light or something, and then it just happened. I'm like, oh well. Contract issues. Sometimes you be focused on one thing. It's like, oh my God, I don't have time to fix it. But yeah. Over here, I'm cutting the copper to install my downspout. I'm about to put the window here, and I had a tough time finding the studs because I don't want to use one of those screws. I hate those, you know, one of those things that come, I forgot the name of it. It goes into the wall and then you put the screws on it. I hate those, so I'd rather feel safe to actually put the screws on the studs. So that's why I put 1,000,000 screws on that pour. What is it, mirror? And then of course you can't see here and saw it. You gotta caulk around with a silicone caulk. You gotta caulk around your vanity so the water doesn't go between the vanity and the wall. And I'm of the same thing here. I'm doing with the trestles. Of course, finally, with the space here that with the pace that we're going, I'm already on the door handle. Well, I'm here saying thank you for staying tuned with us, and you know what to do. Subscribe and comment on the bottom. Thank you, and we're good.